Hey y'all, so let's talk and just like that. This is my first time doing a series recap and review or episode recap and review or anything recap and review, period. I've never done it. I've wanted to for a long time, so I figured now is the best time. I am a 80s baby, so, I came of age when Sex and the City was at its prime. I got into PR because I thought it seemed like a really cool thing to do. So anyway, I love Sex and the City. Of course, it's problematic. The show has not aged well at all, but I still watch it from time to time. And I was really excited about this series. And unpopular opinion, I don't hate it. So what I did this time is I took screenshots of parts that I want to talk about. So I'm not going to go through every single aspect of the show. This review is not even really going to be in a specific order. This is episodes 1 through 3, and I'm just going to kind of talk about it all. And there's some pictures that I think I got out of sync, so bear with me through this. Spoilers, obviously. I feel like you shouldn't really have to disclose that they're spoilers. It's coming out weeks after the show actually aired. So again, episode 1 through 3. So we're going to start with episode 1. The girls are all together to eat lunch at a cafe, and their outfits are all terrible. I'm kind of disappointed with that. They run up on Bitsy Von Muffling. Bitsy is her usual self, just yammering away with everybody's business. They talk about Samantha not being with them, and Bitsy thinks she's dead, and I just thought that was kind of ridiculous. I know, what's-her-face, Kim Cattrall has stepped away from the series, but I haven't been reading any of the news about the show, so I didn't want any spoilers or anything like that. I did hear that they've been talking about Chris Noth and all his issues. I haven't heard the best stuff about him as far as just people I know who have had encounters with him, but I don't know fiction from fact. So whatever. So they're at the cafe. They mention a few different times about like how old they are. And to be honest, I talk about how old I am all the time. And like Miranda, I am older in grad school now. So according to the Just Like That timeline, I'm going to say Sex and the City, forgive me. According to this timeline, Miranda started grad school in spring of 2021, and so did I. And as usually the oldest one or a handful of older people in each class, I constantly talk about my age. So if you don't like it, oh well, don't listen to me. One part here, Carrie takes out her phone and she's doing either a screen capture or a picture or a video of this guy who's walking by with a hat on, or this person, excuse me. And I don't like that. I don't take pictures of strangers without their permission, without them knowing, and put them on social media. People do that all the time. I think that's ridiculously tacky. I don't care for it. So, Nicole Ari Parker comes by. She is LTW. She is Charlotte's, role model / friend, and she is looking fabulous. I have met Nicole Ari Parker. I've seen her at a few different places, and I just thought she was kind of regular looking. But on camera, she is freaking gorgeous. So anyway, she's wearing all kinds of jewelry. I used to be into big jewelry, not so much anymore. One thing I will say with this series, because they're trying to really hammer home the whole diversity thing, I wish that they had just introduced these characters as already being their friends instead of, look at us, we're making new friends. You know what I mean? Like, she should have already been knowing Lisa for the last 10 years since the last movie came out, instead of introducing her and running around and looking stupid trying to make a new friend. Okay, so this is after lunch. Carrie and Miranda are walking. I took a screenshot of this because why the two purses? Is this just one of the ridiculous fashion choices, or is this something New Yorkers do? I don't know. I don't like it. And then we come into Lily. Lily is wearing these gorgeous Chanel boots, and I only noticed the boots at first, but then when I rewatched this to take the screenshots, she's also has this matching Chanel backpack. So Lily is super cute. And so funny. I don't remember where I heard this, but somebody said that Lily has ruined Big's life because it was Lily's fault that Big didn't get to talk to Carrie before the wedding fiasco. Lily took the phone. Lily answered Carrie's phone and then put it in her purse. And now Lily's piano recital killed him. And then when Charlotte was pregnant with Rose, her water broke when she was yelling at Big, saying that she rules the day he was born, or she curses the day he was born, or something like that. So basically, Charlotte and her children have ruined Big's life. Okay, so this screenshot is of Rose skateboarding through the house. And if we didn't know, Rose clearly is going to be the sexually curious child. And I've just prepared myself for the cliche. I'm like, I know plenty of women who don't fit into the traditional feminine aesthetic, and they're not gay, they're not queer, they're not trans. You can be anything you want to be. Now, see, okay, here's the thing. I am from South Florida. I'm in Fort Lauderdale. One of our neighboring cities or suburbs of Fort Lauderdale is Wilton Manors. It is a proudly LGBTQIA and everything else city. They were the gay capital of the country. Like, Wilton Manors beats out Key West, beats out Fire Island, beats out San Francisco. Wilton Manors is the place that people want to be. So I'm accustomed to all this stuff already. It's not like you don't need to introduce it to me. People can do whatever they want to do as long as they're not hurting anybody else and people are consenting adults. Period. I don't care. So all of this introduction to wokeness, this is all stupid to me. But I understand the other places in the country and the world where it's not as accepted. So I have to get out of my how we do things in Florida bubble. So anyway, moving on. Carrie goes home. I took this picture because I'm envious of Big's record collection. And my dad was a man who loved his records. But after he passed away, everybody in the family wants to claim stuff. And I was like, forget it. I am the undisputed music lover of the family. But I'll get my own records. I've already started my own record collection. And y'all can take what you want. So they have their little ritual there that started during COVID. And they listen to a record and they make dinner together. And I just thought this was really cute. I love to slow dance with whoever I'm seeing or anybody who is good at dancing. So cut to this, Miranda is headed to school. She swings by Smith's bar. Now, raise your hand if you're like me and you thought Smith, Jared, and Aiden were going to run this bar together like Aiden and Steve ran the other bar before. So Miranda swings in. And it's too early to drink, so she just sits and waits. So this is supposed to be our first indicator that Miranda is an alcoholic. I didn't think anything of it. You know, if I'm running early to stuff, sometimes I'll swing in somewhere and get a drink and hang out. So whatever. All right, so Carrie is apparently the most inexperienced sexual content creator. She has never watched Big jerk off. And she asked him to do it now. So this is a little screenshot of them having their moment. I mean, I guess I must be a freak because this seems odd to me that in 30 years of knowing this man, she's never watched him pleasure himself. But also, I love their bed. This bed reminds me of this old Crate and Barrel bed that I really wanted. It was early 2000s, I think, that they made that bed. But they don't make it anymore. So flip forward to Carrie getting ready to go to the recital. She picks up the wedding shoes, the blue shoes. When she put her hand on these shoes, I knew something was going to happen to Big. Was not expecting him to die because, again, I didn't get the memo that they announced the death in the first episode. So I knew something was going to happen to Big when she put her hand on those shoes. Also, side note, I just recently got a couple pairs of Manolo Blahniks. Sarah Jessica Parker's feet must be teeny tiny because 37.5 is small. I wear a 41 in Manolo Blahniks and I wear a size 9 shoe. So 37.5 is teeny tiny. Okay, so here is Charlotte arguing with Rose about wearing the dress so that they can all match for Lily's piano recital. Now, this is another thing that aggravated me. You know that your daughter does not like wearing dresses. You could have gotten her something with that pattern that's not a dress. You could have made her a little vest, a little jacket, a blouse, a pair of pants, something that will tie the whole family together without making her wear a dress. I firmly believe that. So my niece also calls herself being not that feminine, like she loves black. I call her a pre-goth, even though she doesn't like when I say that. So I show her like femme goth styles all the time. I bought her a cute little rose gold bracelet with a black moon on it. It's Swarovski bracelet. She loved it. For her birthday, I got her this little Ted Baker clutch, but it was black and yellow, and she loved that. So I know what she likes, but I still make it feminine, and she really loves it. She uses the stuff all the time. So Lily said she'd wear the dress, but she's going to wear it her way, and of course she made it ugly. So again, if Charlotte had just gone the simple route and just got some pants or a blouse or a jacket or vest, or even just made her wear like a little flowery lapel pin, something to tie them together and still let her be herself. Like, give the kid a break. So Stanford and Anthony are arguing. Now, I feel bad talking about Willie Garrison because we all know that he passed away. But I'm like, they really made Stanford an a-hole this season. From his very first appearance on screen, he's fussing. Okay, so inside, there's a ridiculous line for the ladies' room. And Miranda decides that she's 55. She can go to the men's room. Oh, I'm 38, and I've been going to the men's room since I was in my 20s if the line's too long. And funny story. So back in my public relations days, I was lucky enough to score a +1 to one of Michael Jordan's all-star parties in New Orleans. I think this was like 2015. I think it's 2015. I don't know. Well, one year when they were in New Orleans. And I enjoyed the free food and cocktails so much so that I stumbled my way to the bathrooms. They had all these porta potties, and I accidentally went to the men's room, and I argued with the men that they were in the wrong bathroom until I saw the urinals, and then I was like, oh, my bad. And I stumbled out, and people outside were like, did she just come out of the men's room? Yes, I did come out of the men's room. And I'm still embarrassed and also still find that story hilarious. All right, so inside the recital, Miranda pulls out her bottle of purse wine. Again, Miranda's an alcoholic. We get it. I still wouldn't have thought anything of it. My friends and I would absolutely have bottles of wine in our purses. So, didn't seem like a big deal to me. Maybe I should look at myself. And then there's just another picture of Nicole Ari Parker looking fabulous. She's got a husband. She's got a mother-in-law. And I'm really loving the aesthetic that this little family is putting out, even when the mother-in-law is a B word. And so we have Brady over here making out with his girlfriend. I think Brady is trash and so rude and so disrespectful. I don't know how Miranda and Steve are raising this boy, but it's ridiculous. I also forgot to mention the very first thing that they talk about when they sit at the table is that Miranda stepped on a used condom. Ew. Like, I agree that you should be open and honest with your children about sex so that they're being as safe as they could possibly be. But just letting them screw in your house all day long or encouraging them to do so, I think that's drawing the line. Like, you need to have some respect. To this day, both my parents are deceased, but I wouldn't be tonguing down any family member. Any man I'm seeing in front of my family like that. I just think that's gross and disrespectful. And so when they talk about it loudly, Brady then gets this little attitude, and I can't with this boy. This is ridiculous. Okay. And so Big is over here just peddling his life away on Peloton. Now, also, they really disrespected Peloton with this series. And apparently Peloton did not know how the bike was going to be used. They just agreed to let it be some product placement. So I don't know what that's going to turn into. I don't know if they have the right to sue. I'm sure HBO has an ironclad contract with them. But they came out and said that they didn't know, and they made some propaganda to go against it, but they took down the commercial. If you can Google the Peloton commercial with Chris Noth, if it's still floating out there in there somewhere, it's pretty funny, but they really tried Peloton with this series. So also some foreshadowing. Carrie's sitting here playing with her ring while Big is having a heart attack. And then she makes it home, and they stare at each other for like 30 seconds. And that also pissed me off. But that's how kind of movies and TV are. They just have these long beats. You know, villains have all this time to make a speech and all chaos ensues. So that kind of ticked me off. So yeah, she's hugging him and holding him and big smiles at her one last time, and then he dies. And that is unfortunate. And that is the end of episode 1. And then we pick up with episode 2 with Brady in here just getting it on all loud, buck wild with his girlfriend right next door to his parents. That is so disrespectful that I'm stuttering because I just can't, I can't believe it. So anyway, fast forward, Carrie's calling Miranda. Steve picks up the phone. Sometimes Steve can hear, sometimes Steve can't hear. I don't quite understand how that's supposed to go. I worked with somebody who had hearing loss, so I kind of I know what it's like to be yelling at somebody and they're just looking at you and smiling and they didn't hear anything that you said. But Steve also has a sleep apnea machine right here next to the bed, so that is extremely sexy. Miranda and Steve used to be getting it in, and now they're just roommates together. So I don't understand married couples who don't have sex. Like, as someone who grew up Christian, one of the main reasons I wanted to get married for, and I waited for a long time. I waited until I was in my 20s before I had sex because I wanted to be a virgin when I got married. And I'm like, how could you be married to somebody that you don't want to sleep with? That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, they show this picture. Miranda runs over to be there with Carrie, and Big is being wheeled out. I thought that was a bit much, but they're letting us know Big is not coming back. Big is in that bag. And so they're laying in the bed together. Carrie's back kind of seizes up on her a little bit. I was happy to see this moment because Carrie prances around in sky-high heels all the time. So for Big to have to rub her back at night, I was glad to see that this woman is not infallible. And so at the funeral home, Charlotte has a whole breakdown because it's her fault that Carrie didn't go to the Hamptons. And yeah, I'm kind of mad about it too, but we also know Big had a bad heart. He smoked a cigar and he got on a Peloton at the same day. Pelotons have heart rate monitors, so his heart rate must have been normal for him to just keep pushing like that. So Charlotte's boohoo crying, and I've been here before too. So my mom passed away when I was younger. It was in a car accident, and it was a lot of drama. And so when a friend of mine lost their mother a few years later, I went to the viewing, and I just started boohoo crying because I was so sad for the family, losing their mother, because I've been there before. And but I was like, I felt so bad. I'm like, y'all around here rubbing my back when this is your time to mourn. So I excused myself. I didn't go to the funeral because I didn't want them to be comforting me during their time of need. And so here I took a screenshot of this because I actually like Carrie's outfit here, and I rarely like Carrie's whole outfit. I usually like some pieces that she wears, but I like this whole thing. I really want these Manolo Blahnik mules or slides or whatever you want to call them. She sees this little couple together that reminds her of herself and Big, and I thought that was a cute little moment. And then here, Miranda. So Miranda has been making an ass of herself in her graduate courses. This lady is so freaking pretty. I don't know what her name is or what she's been in before, so forgive me if she's like super famous. I don't know who she is, but I think she is freaking gorgeous, and I'm hoping that I age with like wine like that. So Miranda makes a big deal because the security guard won't let her through without her ID. And that was a good moment for them to talk about. You don't need to save everything. Sometimes you need to really gauge whether or not you need to step in or if your presence is going to escalate a situation. And it reminds me of a time when I had some police harassing me, and I called my father to come basically rescue me. And when he got there, it was only after the fact that I thought, oh my gosh, these people could have shot my dad when he rolled up to the scene to come check on me. And my dad said, they think you're crazy because you're over here crying. And I was like, I'm crying because I had 6 officers holding me up in the middle of the night right in front of my house. And they could have said or said that I said or did anything. I mean, anything could have happened. And I was literally terrified. And then I got even more scared because I was like, they could have killed my dad for coming to check on me. So anyway, be careful in these situations, both parties. All right, so Lisa came over to have lunch with Charlotte. Charlotte's getting ready for the funeral. And this outfit, this outfit is just way too much. But it's also, like, I love how she's standing. She looks freaking beautiful. This is Nicole Ari Parker again. Okay, Carrie is really serving the look for this funeral, and she is with Stanford and Anthony. And Big's funeral is goals. Now, I might sound a little morbid. Again, I've lost both my parents. I only had the one grandmother who was alive when I was, for my lifespan. She just passed away. I had one uncle. He passed away. Like, pretty much everybody is gone. I don't have a big family, and everybody's gone. So I've been through a lot of death. But this is how I want to go out. This is a very classy affair. So bravo, Carrie. And she also says, thank God for these lesbians. I mean, was that a necessary line to say? So this screenshot, Stanford gave this speech about how Carrie served a look because everyone expects it of her, and she is kind of the Jackie O of our time. And you could tell by his hand gestures that he practiced this little speech, and he is going to say it to everybody. And I just thought that was hilarious. But again, Stanford is being a jerk. So again, here are the lesbians. Thank God for the lesbians because they pulled together this funeral. Carrie didn't want any flowers, but Samantha sent that spray, and that's beautiful. I cannot stand those funeral wreaths. I think they're so ugly. Please, for the love of God, my friends who stumble upon this video, my family members who watch my channel, the big service is how I want to go. I don't want a eulogy. I just want people who love me and know me well to tell my embarrassing stories before they send my body off to science. I don't want to be buried either. Send me back to UF or to UM, to my graduate or my undergrad school, and let them do what they want with me. So yeah, another picture of the casket on the acrylic blocks, and everything was freaking beautiful. That's it. Okay, so Stanford's being a jerk again. He won't let Big Secretary sit up front because they had assigned seating. And he sent the lady to the back. Here's Miranda demanding to be served a drink because her husband donated the alcohol. So, and she's not drinking wine. She is drinking bourbon, I believe, is what she asked for. And she's hitting the bourbons pretty hard because she has another one in her hand later. And she said it's because she's going to speak and she's nervous. So we'll see. Before, she had the wine at the recital because she had a rough day at school. So I guess that's where the alcoholism comes in. You're not just drinking to have a good time. You're drinking to escape. And that's where addiction is a bad thing. Okay, another picture of this fabulous funeral. And then I was so happy to see Susan Sharon here. She was like, are we forgetting what a jerk he was to her? Like, for real. But later on, Susan gives this whole speech to Carrie about how she forgives her. And it's just so interesting how people perceive things. I currently have some people who are mad at me right now, but they are completely oblivious to the disrespect that they've caused me. Only thing I did was just fall back. Like, all right, I'm not going to keep letting you mistreat me. But all of a sudden, I'm the one with the problem because I don't want to be stepped on anymore. Whatever. People grow apart. So here's Bitsy again, being way too much and telling Carrie how she knows. She knows how she feels. Okay, nobody knows how anybody else feels. Nobody knows what anybody else is thinking. You know how people behave, but you don't know what they're actually thinking. So please just refrain from saying things like that. Just say, Carrie, my husband died. I'm here for you if you want to talk, if you need anything. I've been there before. My situation is different than yours, but I can lend an ear to you that other people may not be able to. Leave it at that. Here Brady is being a jerk yet again. He knows he's underage. He knows he's in public. His parents are in the next room, and you're going to smoke somebody's reefer. I mean, this kid is just ridiculous. So Miranda was correct to snap, but I'm like, if she was snapping appropriately, he wouldn't be doing dumb stuff like this. So Miranda, here she is, another drink in her hand while she's falling in love with Shay. And then they get home from the funeral and there are all these gifts in the hallway. Carrie said, no flowers, no gifts. People don't listen. I know this for a fact. People don't listen. Carrie has no family. I also have a very, literally a handful. I can count on my fingers my relatives who I'm close with. Don't send all this stuff. Nobody needs it. Now, I'm not sure when this scene comes in, but I took this screenshot because Miranda's there with all her books. Her teacher is getting mugged by Chucky. Miranda slaps the Chucky with her book, and all of these men are just standing there looking. I am just so sick of the lack of chivalry these days. And don't come talking to me about feminism. What are men for if they're not going to, at least on this minimal scene, look out for women? Okay, and then this, again, I still don't know where these few clips, the next few pictures come from, but I took a screenshot because Carrie still has John in her phone, and you can see her message, I'll be home soon. I kept my dad's last voicemail message that he sent to me in my phone until it forced me to delete it, and then I lost my phone, so then I lost all of that stuff. I wish I had saved it. Because my dad will always say, have I told you lately that I love you? And I miss hearing him say that to me. So anyway, I think this is episode 3 now. Yes, they had all this little banter. I didn't take a screenshot of Carrie and her podcast crew because the guy who was supposed to be the heterosexual male of the group is not the most attractive man. And again, people can look how they want to like you. Either like it or you don't. That's how I feel. Nobody needs to change anything for anybody. You like me or you don't. And if I want to change, great. If you want to change, great. And if you don't, you don't. But be with people because you like them. But he gives me the vibes, just how he looks, of the person who wants this woman to be straight off of Sports Illustrated, straight off of Instagram, straight off of the runway. But he can look like anything. I don't know this guy from McKenna. I don't even know what his real name is. I'm just saying the way he looks, he gives me the vibe of the kind of guy who will be super particular about how a woman's supposed to look. So anyway, I took this picture mainly though because I like how Carrie has the butt bag on, but she's wearing it up high. That was the trend last year or early this year, or it may still be the trend now. I'm not sure, but I have a couple bags like that. They just don't work for me. So anyway, Carrie and Miranda are going to the lawyer now for the will reading. And I take a picture, this little screenshot, because I actually like Miranda's outfit. And that is rare. I rarely, let me say it one more time, rarely like Miranda's outfits. So here's a little close-up to this little blouse. It's really cute. And so they're talking, they're doing whatever. And then turns out Big left $1 million to Natasha in his will. I'm not going to go into that, but I would be pissed too if I was Carrie. Like, what the hell are you leaving money to her for? And so Charlotte and Stanford have a showdown at the restaurant while they're waiting for Carrie and Miranda. And now I think this was rude of Carrie not to tell Miranda and Charlotte that Stanford is coming. And Stanford is still being Stanford and being rude this season. Mad at Charlotte for not assuming that he would be there. Like, Charlotte doesn't hang out with him and Carrie usually. He and Carrie have their own separate friendship that's not part of the friend circle. And so Stanford makes the comment saying that Charlotte doesn't respect him as a member of the group, but he's not. But it's also surprising, though, that with Stanford and Anthony being married and Anthony being friends with Charlotte, that she's also not developed a relationship with Stanford, considering their friend groups do blend together. But I don't think she's wrong for not assuming that he would be at this little lunch. So fast forward, Miranda's got a glass of wine in her hand, and she's also barking at the waiter 2 different times to bring her more wine. But she clearly has wine in this glass right now. I took this little screenshot because this sympathy card that's on the table is the same design as the thank you cards that I bought for my grandma's funeral. And now, also this screenshot. So Carrie is trying to find the password to Big's computer. For those of you who have not dealt with loss the way I have, write down your passwords. Even if you just write it down and put it in a safe deposit box somewhere. Like, your people who you leave behind need to know how to get into your stuff. So just keep that in mind. That is important. Okay, so Carrie was rooting around through big stuff. She found a phone number written on a piece of paper, and she calls it. It turns out it's the house phone. Now, a lot of people think that's ridiculous. I don't. I can't tell you what my house phone number is. But if I see it, I'll recognize it. So I guess that's where it's kind of ridiculous. Also, some of my friends who live in condos and whatnot, they have to have a house phone. They don't know those numbers. But again, I think it'd be the same thing. If you see the number written down, you'd be like, oh, that's my number. Even if you can't recite it off the top of your head. So this little part was a little bit ridiculous, but also not that strange. She finds this picture of a dog in the closet. My guess is Gogi65 is Big's password, but she didn't type that in to find out. Now, this part, I'm not sure if this is in order, but she gets Big's ashes. She calls Stanford over, and Miranda was already there or coming at some point because it was her night to spend. So Charlotte shows up unannounced. Carrie tells Stanford to hide because she knows her feelings are going to be hurt that she wasn't called. Stanford, again, is being a jerk and says, okay, I don't want to hide. I'm not going to be good at hiding. And then, knowing Carrie has opened the door, runs to the table to get his martini instead of just signaling for Miranda to get the martini and bring it to him. So they have this little showdown. Sorry, my nose is kind of stuffy. So Carrie lets Charlotte know she's not mad at her. She's mad at herself. And she has her little freak out in the hallway, and then all's right with the world. All is not right with the world, but she kind of lets it go. She brings Charlotte inside. And now, is this episode 3? Not sure if this is episode 3, where Charlotte brings Rose to Anthony, and she wants to talk to Anthony about Rose saying that she doesn't feel like a girl. Never feels like a girl. Instead of talking to her husband, who is the child's father, she goes to an external source. Now, I'm not married, so I don't have children, so I don't really know how this goes. But I agree with Anthony, like, don't talk about it at all. Just let her do what she wants to do. I think we force labels on children too soon. Like, again, I'm not opposed to anybody being whatever they want to be or being with whoever they want to be, as long as it's consensual. And minors and animals don't get to consent, and it's not hurting anyone. So those are my rules. But if she's only a child, I don't know how old she's supposed to be. I'm guessing like 13, 14, maybe even 15, but I don't think she's that old. Like, she says she doesn't feel like a girl. Okay, we'll leave it at that. And as she ages, as she experiments, just let her know this is an open environment, and then see where she goes. But don't force her into a box, whether it's heterosexual or otherwise. Don't make her choose. She's still a kid. So anyway, we go forward. Carrie is spying on Natasha. She wants to talk to her, and Charlotte's dig at her was, oh my gosh, she's wearing flats. Now, do people really run around New York in heels all the time? Because I've only ever been to New York on weekends. And I actually went to the Sex and the City movie premiere. I think that was 2008, I want to say. And even then, people weren't prancing around in heels. And everyone's talking about how Bridget Moynihan just looks fantastic. I think she looks just as old as everybody else, and she's supposed to be like 10 years younger than them. So I took a picture of this just because I love this vignette. This picture is enormous, and I'm praying one day I will live in a space with walls this large so that I could put up big, ridiculous portraits like this. So Charlotte and Miranda go to the Starbucks around the corner to sit and wait for Carrie. I took this picture because I love Charlotte's purse. And then I took this picture also to show that Miranda had all of the vodka in her bag. And this is a Shinola backpack. I think it's really cute. If you watched other videos on my channel, you know that I'm obsessed with Shinola, but I don't own anything Shinola. So if you want to send me something, I would be more than grateful to accept. This part is ridiculous. So, what's her face? Natasha said that she sent her assistant out to say that she was in Rome. She's not there. So the ladies are down on the street looking up into the window and talking trash about her, only to have Natasha beat in the window. And then they run away embarrassed. Like, why are you running away embarrassed? And then Carrie says that's the most embarrassed she's ever been in front of that woman. I would have looked right at her like, you evil XYZ. You know I came in there to see you, and there you are. I'd have just glowered at her instead of running away. I took a picture of this because this is why I'm reluctant to wear heels in the city, because even here in Fort Lauderdale, they just think cobblestone streets are so cute. You will break your ankle. Now, heels, actually, like stilettos aren't so bad, but when it comes to wedges, like the wedges that lift up at the toe so you rock forward, those are murder. This screenshot I took just because Charlotte's using her water pick. I just recently joined the water pick gang. I am obsessed with my water pick. Like, I didn't want to get it. My dentist told me that I needed it. He was like, you're at the age now. Your gums are kind of starting to recede a little bit. Your oral hygiene is great, but this is something that just happens to some people. You need a water pick. So I was like, no, I'm too young for a water pick. But no, I'm not. I have one now and I love it. So anyway, I was excited to see Charlotte's water pick just because I'm a nerd like that. I took this screenshot just because I like Carrie's purse here. And so I want to archive that for my memory bank. I want to get that one day. So they're sitting on the steps of Columbia. Again, another age joke. But I mean, I feel old as hell in grad school, so I'm not mad at all these little age comments. And Carrie says, these are my sneakers. She holds her foot up. And I kind of agree with her. I'm a person who likes heels too, so whatevs. So Carrie, what's her face? What is this lady's name? Charlotte. Charlotte's walking the dog, wearing her heels, and she pulls this little poop bag out of this Burberry case. And I took this screenshot because I want one of those. And it also reminded me of the end of season 1, where Charlotte and Harry are running, and all of Elizabeth Taylor's pups have on little Burberry jackets. So I guess this is like a callback. Also, the end of episode 1, the end credits used the same song from the end credits from the series finale of Sex and the City. There were a few other little callbacks I noticed. I meant to write them down, but I didn't. So now they're at the comedy show. Everybody's standing up. Charlotte leans over. She was like, I thought you said we were in VIP. And Charlotte, I am in the same camp as you. I have said several times, I don't go anywhere if I'm not VIP. Y'all might think I'm joking. I absolutely mean it. I'm not trying to stand up all night. I'm not trying to get smoked on. I'm not trying to get drinks spilled on me. If I can't come in and sit down and not have to wait in any lines, I'm not going. So Charlotte, I'm on your side. Miranda falls in love with Shay even more. I took this picture because I like Carrie's outfit again. Again, it's rare that I like the whole outfit. Now, this purple purse, I'm wondering if this is the same purse that she was supposedly had stolen when she had her Manolo Blahniks taken too. Was that the same episode? Not sure, but that looks like the same purse. Okay, now here, Miranda's getting shotgunned, and again, she's just falling in love with Shay. Fast forward, so get the purse. This looks like the same purse, but I just took a picture of these shoes. I like these shoes. And Carrie has made her way back home to whatever neighborhood she lived in before. And so that's a wrap of all the things that stood out to me so far in these first 3 episodes. Y'all let me know what you think. If you watch this, if it gets enough views or enough comments, then maybe I will do some more. Oh, also, first episode. So Hello, It's Me is the song that they're listening to. I did not know this song was a cover. I'm very familiar with the Groove Theory version of this song. I listen to it all the time. I'm going to link it below because the Groove Theory Hello, It's Me is like my jam. Did not know it was a cover. So that was cool to find out. I started taking notes before I started this whole screenshot deal that I did. Let's see. There were quite a few things in the first episode that I pointed out. Like the first episode, Carrie gets in the elevator, but for some reason she bends down to push the elevator buttons, and she's only 5'3". So why is that? When Miranda came in the classroom and sat in the professor's seat, and everybody told her that's the professor's seat. It's like, how did they know? Like, if the semester just started, why does everybody in the class know where the professor sits? That was kind of weird. Is there anything else? I guess that's it. So yeah, just Stanford's being a jerk. Miranda's a Miranda is an alcoholic. Charlotte is confused about what to do with her child. And Carrie's starting her life over again. So that's it. That's it. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. I know my usual beginning and end card aren't on this video, but I'm using a different device to put all this together, but I really wanted to get it out. So I hope you all have a great day, evening, week, month, new year, or whenever you stumble upon this video. Thank you so much for watching.